The old house stood on a hill overlooking the town, a skeletal silhouette against the bruised twilight sky. They called it the Blackwood Manor, though no one named Blackwood had lived there for 100 years. Locals whispered stories, of course. Tales of shadows that danced in empty rooms and a woman's soft weeping carried on the wind. I never believed them. To me, it was just an abandoned relic, a perfect subject for my urban exploration channel. That's why I found myself pushing open its heavy oak door one crisp autumn evening, my camera's light cutting a nervous path through the dust-choked darkness. The air inside was thick and cold, heavy with the scent of decay and something else. Something faintly sweet, like forgotten perfume. Hello. I called out, my voice sounding small and foolish in the cavernous foyer. Only the creak of floorboards under my boots answered. The ground floor was a maze of decaying grandeur. A grand ballroom with a shattered crystal chandelier, a library where books had turned to pulp on the shelves. Dust motes danced in my flashlight beam like tiny, ghostly insects. Everything was draped in cobwebs, frozen in time. It was eerie, sure, but nothing I hadn't seen before. I filmed it all, narrating in a hushed, excited tone for my viewers. You can feel the history here. I whispered, panning my camera across a portrait of a stern-faced woman, her eyes seeming to follow me. It was when I started up the main staircase that the feeling began to shift. The air grew colder with each step. The faint, sweet smell became stronger. Halfway up, I heard it. A soft, musical tinkling like a wind chime. But there was no wind inside the house. I froze, straining my ears. The sound came again, clearer this time, from the top of the stairs. It was a music box. My heart started to hammer against my ribs. Logic screamed at me, it's just the house settling, an old toy with a wound-down spring finally giving way. But the tune was so deliberate, so clear. It was a lullaby, one I vaguely remembered from childhood. Curiosity, the stupid, reckless kind that always got me into trouble, won out over fear. I continued my ascent, my footsteps now silent and cautious. The second floor was a long corridor lined with closed doors. The music box melody was coming from the last door on the left. It was slightly ajar. Pushing it open, I found myself in what must have been a child's nursery. In the center of the room sat a small, intricately carved wooden rocking horse, and on a dusty knit stand beside a small bed, the music box sat open, its tiny ballerina spinning, spinning, spinning. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. It was just a music box. I walked over to it, my camera focused on the delicate ballerina. As I reached out to touch it, the music stopped abruptly. The ballerina froze mid-twirl. The silence that followed was more deafening than the music had been. Then I heard a new sound. A soft creak. Slowly, I turned. My blood ran cold. The rocking horse, the one that had been perfectly still in the center of the room, was moving. It rocked back and forth, a slow, steady, deliberate rhythm, creak, creak, creak. But there was no one on it. No one in the room but me. I backed away, fumbling with my camera, my breath catching in my throat. My flashlight beam trembled, dancing across the walls. The rocking motion picked up speed. Creak, 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 creak. It was getting faster, more frantic. A wave of pure, primal fear washed over me. This wasn't the house settling. This wasn't my imagination. I turned and ran. I didn't look back. I bolted down the hallway, the sound of the rocking horse seeming to chase me, echoing in the confined space. I stumbled down the grand staircase, my feet barely touching the steps. The sweet smell of perfume was overpowering now, cloying and thick in my throat. I could hear something else, too. A soft whisper just behind me, a woman's voice calling a name that wasn't mine. I burst out of the front door and didn't stop running until the town's lights were a warm, safe glow below me. I never went back to Blackwood Manor. I deleted the footage. I tried to forget. But sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet and the wind is just right, I can still hear it. A faint, tinkling melody floating on the breeze. And the slow, steady creak of a rocking horse moving back and forth in an empty, dark room on a hill, waiting. Thank you so much for joining me on this chilling tale. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more stories from the shadows. Stay safe out there and always check what's behind you. See you next time.